In this session, we're going to discuss the H3 pocket style replacement window from Sierra Pacific. If you're not familiar with the H3 design, we'll give you a quick overview. The H3 has unique component characteristics to it in that it's comprised of three different materials. Each of these materials is not fastened to each other, but yet is fit together in a friction fit type of format to allow each of the components to float and move about themselves as there is expansion and contraction. The main frame is comprised of a 78 thousandths vinyl extrusion with hollow channels to give us good insulating properties as well as good structure and strength. All four corners are welded to give us the ability to prevent water intrusion in through the frame members. The exterior is also a heavy material. It's 55 thousandths extruded aluminum in both the frame and the sash members. In addition, we also use aluminum extrusions that match the sash and the frame to cover our balance system so that we have a nice attractive look on the exterior. The interior of the H3 is made of solid wood. We do this as opposed to some of our competitors and other manufacturers who would rather utilize a very thin veneer possibly, or would also use laminate material that gives us a wood grain look as opposed to having the warmth and beauty of wood. We offer 9 wood species on the interior to choose from, or you can custom species upon request. In addition, we also have the ability to provide a factory interior stain or finish in either black or white. The balance system to the H3 double hung is a constant force balance system. And constant force balance is comprised of a balancing system that uses a tightly wound coil that is perfectly balanced to the weight of each of the sash and gives a smooth fingertip operation when operating the window up and down. The sash is a full 1 3/4 inch thick. This gives us the ability to provide 3/4 inch low E insulating glass as well as 1 inch insulating low E glass and triple glazing. The modification to the H3 to give us the frame style that we need in order to effectively install this product into an existing window frame is that we modified the exterior aluminum extrusion to have 2 different components added to it. One is there's a full perimeter accessory groove that allows us to finish out or trim out the exterior suitably in order to give us a nice look on the exterior. The other is that we've incorporated approximately 1/2 inch leg that is part of the aluminum extrusion. And this allows us to install the window from the inside as opposed to the outside and give us a nice tight seal once set in place. The net result is from the interior surface of the wood to the exterior of this aluminum fin and leg is that we have 3 1/4 inches, and that's what we need in order to properly install the unit into most of your existing sash pockets of double hung windows made for decades. To demonstrate how that works, we've got a common double hung frame design, in this case all wood, has a slope sill and a sill nosing to allow water runoff. Frame is designed to size to the existing depth of the wall of the structure it was installed into. The exterior would have a molding, sometimes called a brick mold. Other times it will be a flat casing on the exterior, but there is a variety of those. Next would be a blind stop in the exterior, and this is typically where your screen or a combination storm window might be applied. Our sash pocket, which is, again, typically 3 1/4 inches in depth. There's an interior stop or extension that's in place, and this can be of several different varieties depending upon the age of the window. And then, of course, on the interior, we would have it trimmed out with an interior casing or molding of sorts. In older windows, this molding right here may be a removable piece. So if the window that's in place in the structure has, let's say, old rope and pulley or chain and pulley sash balance system, this part here probably has screws that are exposed that allow it to be removed, and then the sash taken out and removed for repair or maintenance. In newer models of double hung windows, say in the last 50 or 60 years or so, that chain and pulley system went away. And in lieu of that, many windows just operated directly into the wood sash pocket. There may have been various types of copper weather stripping or metal weather strippings that were in place, but this part became part of the main frame of the window, and so it was not as easily removable for replacement. So the interior casing would then be applied directly over that and make it somewhat difficult to install a window from the interior side. In those cases where this would not be, the stop would not be easily removable, this would have to be cut out in order to give us a clear path to install the pocket replacement window. So this piece would have to be cut out and removed, and possibly any interior moldings would have to be removed in order to allow for that clear pathway to install the replacement window. Many times, window treatments are also installed on top of the interior trim or casing, and that might also have to be removed. To better demonstrate how the window goes in place, we have a second wood frame that we can utilize. And this will give a bit clearer picture of how that works. In this particular model, you see where we have the existing window has its brick mold and the exterior blind stop. But we've removed the sash, and we've installed some shims here just for the benefit of the sample that may be used. But you'll see that there is no interior trim or interior stop. Those have been removed. Once removed, then we have a clear pathway to install a window from the interior side of the room. We can take our pocket style H3 window and we can set it down on the sill from the interior, let it tip into place. And we have a window installed into the opening. Now, each of the pocket style replacement windows come with an installation kit, and within that installation kit is a 3/8 backer rod, and I'll show you how that applies. A set of shims, which I mentioned could be used if need be. Some sill levelers, which are wood blocks that could be used if necessary to give us a flat sill rather than a pitched sill, but may or may not be necessary to use. Your fasteners are in here because the window is installed through the balance channels with pre-drilled holes, and here are the fasteners that will hold it in place. And then a set of installation instructions. Along with the installation kit, each of these pocket style replacement windows will come with a bottom expander, and the bottom expander is designed for the exterior. Once the window is installed and in place, this may be foamed or insulated with fiberglass. Typically there may be a little more room left in here to allow for that, depending on how the window was actually sized. Oftentimes caulk will be applied to that exterior blind stop prior to final setting of the window in place. But essentially from the interior side, the only thing left to do is to reapply that molding and our interior casing. So once the window is installed then in place, then we'll look at the exterior, and the exterior can be finished off in a number of different ways. Once it's set into place, caulk is behind it. We can caulk the exterior if so desired, and then insert the backer rod into place, and then finish caulk over that if we want to seal that backer rod in place and give ourselves an even better weather-tight seal. And then the bottom expander can be placed into that accessory groove I mentioned earlier, tapped into place easily, doesn't require fasteners, and is pre-sized or to the width of the window so it fits, and can be finished off all the way to the edge. Or you have some other options. In this particular case, because we have a cavity in here, we may choose to want to seal that up. We make a small sized expander that can fit into the channel on the sides and the top by snapping it in place, running it over to the edge of the brick mold, and then finish caulking that if we desire, and we can leave it just as that is. You can also apply coil, and a lot of installers will use what's called aluminum trim coil, and trim coil typically comes in a roll, generally 50 feet long by 24 inches wide. And they can take and unroll that, lay it out flat, bend it and shape it into the form of whatever existing moldings there are left exposed on the face of the window, and then reapply that to cover that wood molding. And it can either be tucked back in here prior to applying that small trim extender, or it can be inserted into the accessory groove itself, run across, and avoid using this small trim extender at all. We also have a couple of optional trim extender pieces for different applications. Rather than use the small piece or use trim coil, we have an extruded aluminum trim piece that actually inserts into that accessory groove as well, comes out slightly and then crosses over beyond the face of the brick mold, and then would have a 90-degree receptor that it slots into to give the existing molding a complete finished wrap in an extruded aluminum material, and one that would certainly match the exterior of the window. The other is to, instead of using this bottom expander, is designed to install into that accessory groove, insert into that position, and go down and cover the face of the sill nosing so that that's covered as well and would not have to be wrapped any further. And with that, that's the installation and application of the H3 pocket style replacement window from Sierra Pacific.